Well, as promised, from one culinary artist to another artist who deals in a different medium. But part of this wonderful studio tour is the West End Studio Tour. They're doing their spring version. It's a full weekend version of it where you can meet the artists. And I'm going to introduce you to one of the wonderful artists right now. I'm joined by Miriam Silbert, an artist member. Welcome to the show, Miriam. Great to have you here. This is exciting, Miriam, because, you know, so many artists throughout the pandemic, you know, losing out on opportunities. Let's talk about this studio tour and why it's an important opportunity for artists like yourself.
Thanks very much. I am a returning artist to the West End Studio Tour. We've been in a pandemic for so long, and actually this weekend, during the West End Studio Tour, we will be doing it mostly outside. We still have contests, and we get an opportunity to explain our art and show our art and talk with people.
This is a long history with this particular tour. As I understand, it's in its 27th year. What do you owe the success of this tour to?
I think the quality of the artists is quite amazing, and the variety of art. I mean, I'm the only glass artist in this tour. There are many other mediums, and I think that explains the high quality and the diversity of artists.
Miriam, you mentioned many mediums. Tell me about the types of mediums we can expect on the tour.
Well, there'll be graphic artists, there'll be print artists, there will be painters. As I said, I'm the only glass artist this time around, but a nice variety.
Let's talk about your history in getting involved in the arts. I mean, I know many artists work in different mediums until they, you know, until the day that they decide on one, or maybe they continue on. What was your introduction to the arts, Miriam?
I've always been a lover of stained glass and how light plays with the colored glass. So in '95, I took up my first stained glass class and started doing that, and did that for about 10 years and did a number of commissions and so on and sold that. But then I was introduced to fused glass, and that I found a whole new love. And people often ask, well, what is fused glass?
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's not stained glass. Stained glass is what we call cold glass, and people are familiar with stained glass in church windows and so on. And then there's hot glass, which people maybe have heard of, someone like Chihuly or so on, and they're blowing glass. And I'm in the middle, what we call warm glass. I wouldn't exactly call it warm because I'm working with a glass kiln that goes up to about 1,500 degrees or hotter. So in perspective, it's not as hot as the glowing glass. But what's unique about fused glass is allows me to do all kinds of things. Like my glass can move. I can take different shapes with it. I'm not working flat like a stained glass. So I can work flat, but I can also make all different kinds of shapes. And it has so many different techniques. That's why I love it. I'm always learning.
So what kind of tools then do you use with that medium, Miriam? I imagine, you know, if you do have to use your hands, you're probably using some kind of special gloves, but are there tools involved as well?
Yes, well, primarily you start with like the skills I learned as a stained glass artist. I work with a cutter. It doesn't actually cut; it just kind of scores the glass, and then you break it, and then you work, and you're working from sheets of glass in the fused glass. So this is a fusible piece of glass which can go into the kiln. This glass is specially designed when you're mixing colors, because you're melting it together. So you've got a cream and you've got a blue, and they're made quite differently. And so they have to go into kiln for about 24 hours to melt together. And this specialized glass allows the glass to heat up slowly and cool down slowly without having any tension. Because tension is the magic word that says breakage. So learning how to use a large kiln, I have 3 or 4 kilns now. I have my Papa kiln, I have my Mama kiln for smaller ones, and I have what's called my baby kiln, which is called a vitrograph kiln. And it allows me to make all these kinds of fun little things in here by using a specialized kiln that allows me to pull glass through the bottom of the floor and pull it in long canes, and then they can be chopped up and I can incorporate them into different pieces of art.
That is so cool. That is just amazing. I'm just running low on time here, Miriam. So, people that want to get involved, I mean, all that information's on the website, and I understand there's a downloadable map as well, right?
There is. And I'll be showing a lot of glass flowers in my show, and lots of jewelry. I will also be doing a fundraiser for the Ukraine with these glass jewelry, and there are all kinds of things. There's so much fun to do. How's this for a beautiful nest?
I love it.
With feathers and eggs in it, and so
Miriam, I love your enthusiasm. Your enthusiasm alone is going to attract people to go. I want to remind everybody at home that's June 4th and 5th, westendstudiotour.ca for the map. We'll be back with more right after this.